Hello, everyone. Welcome to the digital experience team. This is our sprint or iteration demo video showing what we've been working on for the last 2 weeks. Today is July 15th. And first up is Tyler.
Yeah, a bunch of like little stuff. So started by the brand team reached out. Matt reached out for to swap an image on the homepage with the GitLab 14 imagery, so I did that. Barker had started most of they're updating the product messaging to be the DevOps platform as opposed to the open DevOps platform. So we did a bunch of find it and replaces there, and I basically just shepherded that along, and that's merged. Then I finished up the comparison infographic and storybook, got that approved. Super stoked on that. Oh yeah, and we can show that. Thank you. Yeah, feeling really good about that. Really happy with the progress there, and it was a super fun one to do. Thanks to Tina and Javi and Alita for all the help on that. We got updated data for that component, so I had to update the Netlify CMS schema to reflect that data, so I did that. And then I also recorded a video for folks on like how to use that particular piece of Netlify CMS. I think I'll end up writing a handbook entry for it as well, adding it to the learning resources when we get around to that. We had a couple errors in the pipeline with some uncaught errors, so I added that to the array that says like retry on these particular API failures. I finished the comparison infographic middleman integration. It works. The MR linked here. The pipeline, the review apps have working demos of it, but it's not ready to be shipped until there's real data, because it's the sort of thing that I don't want to ship incorrect or incomplete data, since it's competitive and important. And then finally, I finished the cache busting for slippers to happen automatically in Middleman, but I cannot push it because our repository is broken. So, but I wanted to include it here because I think it's important for us to flag the things that we finished but can't ship because of those problems. And up next is Tina.
Thanks, Tyler. I also worked on the comparison stuff. I just want to call out that was a big lift, Tyler, and you did amazing work on top of everything he just mentioned. He made training tutorials and videos and all kinds of stuff. So great work. It was fun to work with you on that. And since my head was in that project, I worked towards the stretch goal of designing a top to bottom update for the comparison pages, specifically for the platform competitors. So jumping off the planning doc created by Alita and I think William as well, and armed with some of the user testing sessions that I ran last sprint cycle, we created this. I probably want to stick to the desktop design. This is the infographic. Yeah, go down where you were. I just click on the desktop. Yeah, there we go. So created this MVC1 mockup for the platform competitor pages. So there's a top to bottom design for desktop, as well as just like some mobile designs for some new components that we're proposing for this page. And the readmes are available for details on that. Next is Lauren.
All right. I was out all last week and it's a short week this week. So I did get some work done on the solutions template. I've got a header and the list block in Slippers, and it's been approved. I'll ship that hopefully today, but I reused the DevSecOps header, and then I did that list block so that it uses the event template list block, but made it so it can either be 10 columns or 12 columns. So we can reuse that code instead of just creating a whole new component. So that was cool. And then I just want to call out that the health repository day is in the handbook. It is there, and we can start iterating on this. It takes a while to load. But it's down there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. So, yay, we get to do that. Pass it over to Nathan.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, so a bunch of pricing stuff. There's more improvements that are not behind an experiment that we've done. There's also cleanup. So we actually have never cleaned up a bunch of the experiments in the past. So there's like 22 file deletion or something crazy. There's also an experiment we want to start. I want to do it yesterday, but I'm kind of worried to do it right now with the ongoing repository issues, because if there's an issue, I can't really fix it right away. So as soon as that's resolved, it's good to go. Commit banner's up. It's been up for, I think, 2 weeks or a week. And then the features page I've been working on with Steven, and it's in a really good place, and I wish I could show it. But again, the same thing, I can't push, and I could do it locally. I'll post a link here after when everything's back up to the review app. But that's pretty much it for me. Jess?
Yeah, so I had install page last sprint, but I actually got more feedback and reiterated on it. And there's just some things we didn't know before. We found some really interesting copy that kind of explained why we recommend things or why we don't recommend things, and made a few iterations on that. And something that came out of the install page updates was the need for a dropdown. We wanted to use the kind of side navigation that was originally created for the events template, but to use it on mobile, we would have needed a minimal nav on top. And so we kind of, Steve, Tina, and I talked about it and thought like a drop-down menu might work better. So we have that option now, and that's a new component for Slippers that I've also been working on. And Steven's up next.
I am. And this is kind of a short sprint for me because I just got back from my trip sort of midway, so a bit of catching up. And so we, as Nathan has said, the design for features or the development for features started, but there's some changes to the design as per a meeting yesterday with William around the content for this. So understanding like the dependencies and how it pulls from the YAML file, what we can do with switching stuff on and off, because we actually can't change content in the YAML file, that's out of scope. So figuring out a strategy for that, and also bringing in some of the components that Tina has been using on her comparison page, so that there's a sort of a seamless transition between experiences overall. And then I have design and feedback gathered for the topics landing page, so that's next as well, to integrate some of that. So that's been ongoing too. Yeah, and then next is Laura.
Yeah, so I also, yeah, I also had last week off, so a pretty short sprint for me. But last sprint, I missed the demo day, so I released the sales page there. So it's kind of old news now, but this, you've already seen the designs. It has this nice little, the FAQ section that we're starting to reuse quite a little bit, and it has the customer case studies. So if you go up a little bit, on the same page, this little Ticketmaster section, you can scroll through these customer, and they'll rotate by themselves after 30 seconds as well. And then using the same Marketo form. But we have a nice little component that we can use in other pages. So Jess did a really great job designing that. So yeah, that's live. And then for this actual sprint, I implemented a free trial banner on, I think, 12 different pages. So I linked one example of that key page. I think it's the Learn page. It's a review app because I can't merge this in because of those repository issues, but that little start your free trial banner is new. And so that'll be in most of our kind of top pages to give a pathway to free trial always. And lastly, I did a bunch of work on the demo page. I can't show any of it, it's only locally. Maybe someday I'll be able to push the code. But until then, that's what took up the bulk of my week. And that's me. And up next is Javi.
Thank you, Laura. Over the last 2 weeks, I worked on implementing a ton of feedback we had for the navigation release. Some of this included some visual updates for the navigation that were kind of given to me by Jess. And then a lot of it was also like refactoring the code. So it's not just like one big HAML situation. Right now, I'm currently work in progress right now. One of the deals is that the pipelines is failing because when I switched the template from HAML to ERB, the handbook didn't like that, so I have to go figure that out. But it's more broken up now. I'll probably ask for a review like probably early next week, just because I want to make sure that I get some of those stuff nailed down, especially when it's breaking apart some of these complicated like partials and whatnot. And then I worked a lot on trying to clean up some of our storybook instance, specifically like how our stories were being displayed was a little bit much. So I found a way to consolidate all of those stories down into different directories. And so then I have 2 MRs listed here for both consolidating cards into a structure that is representative of Figma, and then events is all nested into its own separate situation so that all of the events things is within its own subdirectory. Let me see if I could show that actually, just so that I'm not just talking. This should all be live, so just so that you all can see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this. So all this stuff is nested. And that's a little bit easier for us to navigate. That's it for me. I think I'm the last person. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.